All right, let's get right into it. We spend so much of our lives staring at screens, right? And then we spend our nights trying and often failing to switch off. The solution that everyone talks about seems so simple. Just grab a pair of those blue light glasses. But what if that easy fix is actually more of a myth? Today, we're going to dig into the real evidence and uncover the science-backed ways to actually help your tired eyes and get some decent sleep.
So, does this sound familiar? You wrap up a long day, your eyes are just burning, maybe you feel that little tension headache starting to creep in, and then hours later, you're just lying there in bed, your mind is racing, and you just can't fall asleep.
Yeah, if you're like pretty much all of us, the first thing you blame is your phone, your laptop, your tablet, all of it. And it makes sense, right? More screen time seems to equal more discomfort. But the reason why, well, that's where the whole story gets really interesting, and it's probably not what you think.
And that, of course, brings us to the supposed hero of our story, blue light filtering glasses. They've become this huge industry, promising to be this simple, one-stop solution for all our digital problems. But when you actually look at the science, that whole narrative starts to fall apart. Okay, so here's the kicker. Most of those standard clear blue light glasses, the ones most people are buying, they only filter about 20 to 30% of blue light. That is a tiny, tiny fraction, especially for a product that's sold as this ultimate shield for your eyes.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is backed by some serious scientific reviews. The gold standard Cochrane review from 2023, it looked at all the major studies and came to a really clear conclusion. There is just no high-quality evidence that these lenses do anything to improve sleep or reduce eye strain. So if it's not the blue light, then what is actually going on?
Okay, so this means we need to completely shift our focus. Instead of pointing the finger at the light itself, let's look at how we behave around our screens. Turns out the real reasons for our eye strain and sleepless nights have been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
To really put this into perspective, think about this. The sun blasts our eyes with about 1,000 times more blue light than our digital screens ever could. Our eyes literally evolved to handle way more blue light than our devices produce. That's a pretty big clue that the light from our screens probably isn't the main villain here.
And this leads us to a fascinating discovery. It's not about how often we blink, it's about how well we blink. See, when we're staring intently at a screen, our blinks become these little, shallow, incomplete things. We don't fully close our eyes, which means our tear film doesn't get spread properly. And that is what leads to that dry, gritty, strained feeling we all know. It's the blink, not the light.
And it's not just our blinking, the stuff we're looking at, right? It keeps our brain in this on mode, a state of cognitive arousal. All that doom scrolling puts our brain's threat detection system on high alert. That's a state called hypervigilance. Meanwhile, our poor eye muscles are getting strained from constantly focusing up close. That's accommodation stress. And then you throw in bad posture and terrible lighting, and you've got a perfect storm. These are the real culprits.
But here's the good news. The real solutions for these real problems are totally backed by science, they're super effective, and, best of all, they are completely free. This isn't about buying another gadget, it's about building a new set of habits. First up is the single most effective way to fight that eye muscle strain. It's called the 20-20-20 rule, and it's so simple. Every 20 minutes you're on a screen, you just look at something 20 feet away, for at least 20 seconds. That simple little action forces your eye muscles to relax, breaking that cycle of constant focus and giving them a much-needed break. So what about that racing mind at night? Well, there's a brilliant technique for that called cognitive offloading. All it means is you write down your to-do lists, your worries, whatever's bouncing around in your head before you go to bed. By doing that, you're basically telling your brain, hey, I've got this handled. You can stand down now. And studies show this works wonders for calming your mind and helping you fall asleep way faster. And finally, let's talk about the most important space for recovery, your bedroom. The thing is, over time, we can accidentally train our brains to think our bed is a place for being awake and stressed out. We have to break that association. This image says it all, doesn't it? For a good sleeper, their brain sees the bed and thinks, sleep time. But for someone who's struggling, their brain sees the bed and thinks, time to work, time to scroll, time to worry. The whole goal of a powerful therapy called stimulus control is to turn that stressful red bed back into that restful green one. So how do you do it? You retrain your brain by following these rules, and you have to be strict. Rule 1, the bed is only for sleep and intimacy. That's it. No working, no eating, no scrolling. Rule 2, only go to bed when you actually feel sleepy, not just tired, there's a difference. Rule 3, if you're lying there awake for more than 20 minutes, get up, go do something calm and boring in another room until you feel sleepy again.
And finally, number 4, wake up at the same time every single day. Yes, even on weekends. This anchors your body's internal clock like nothing else.
Which brings us right back to our big question. It is so tempting to look for a quick fix, for some product we can just buy. But the evidence is crystal clear. Real relief from digital fatigue doesn't come in a box. It comes from actually understanding what's happening to our bodies and our brains, and then consciously building the habits that protect them. The real solution isn't on your face, it's in your daily routine.